Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, details on an annual holiday tradition. Magic Keyholders are getting lots of perks in the new year.
New entrance gates are coming soon. A couple of lengthy refurbs have finally wrapped up. Teresa talks about her experience on the Disney Treasure and more. DL Weekly starts now.
This is your captain speaking to you from the wheelhouse. I'd like to welcome all of you aboard the DL Weekly podcast. For safe passage on our trip, please do not sit or climb on the outside railings. And be sure to watch your children. The water can be unpredictable in these parts, and we'd sure hate to lose any of you.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of December 18th, 2024. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Tag Bushman. We would like to thank everyone who supports the show. This week, we'd like to give a special shout out to Elisa B., Josh W., Shelby R., and Barbara H. for supporting the show. If you'd like to help support the show and get ad-free versions of each episode, access to our supporter-only chat, and a bunch of other cool perks, things like the holiday cards that we sent out to everybody recently, head on over to DLWeekly.net/support and become an official weekly tier.
Now let's get to the news.
Extra, extra, read all about it. DL Weekly reports from intrepid correspondents Tag and Teresa. You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Breaking news!
An annual tradition is bringing viewers to the parks again this year. The Disney Parks Magical Christmas Day Parade will air on ABC on Christmas morning and just an hour later on Disney Plus and YouTube. Performances by Elton John, John Legend, Anika Noni Rose, and more will be featured. The performances will take place at Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, and Alani.
So this is kind of, the traditional thing that they do every year for Christmas Day. This is a tradition for a lot of people. Of course, this is going to be from all those different places Teresa just mentioned. But also, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, isn't this the first time they've done it like right afterwards on Disney Plus and YouTube?
I don't remember it being that quickly on Disney Plus and YouTube to be able to watch it like an hour later, which is awesome because if you are busy opening gifts or traveling over to loved ones or just can't catch it when it's, quote unquote live, which spoiler alert, this is all pre-recorded. It's not actually live. But if you don't actually get to catch it when it airs, you can then tune in whenever's convenient for you the rest of the day, which is awesome.
I will say when I learned that they pre-recorded these things a few years ago, I was my little self was heartbroken because I used to think that I was like, all these people, they're there at Christmas time.
I know. Me
and
too.
the fact that actually this was some of the stuff at Disneyland was recorded in October. So it's still technically Halloween season.
It was, yes.
Which is why we got snow on the castle so early. But this will definitely be on in our household the day of Christmas while we're opening stuff and all that good stuff. So always a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of fun times, Magic Keyholders will have some perks coming up in 2025. From January 7th through January 13th, a souvenir pin giveaway and Disney character photo pass event will be at Disneyland. These items will be available at the Starcade in Tomorrowland. Starting on January 8th, a Magic Key Stitch popcorn bucket will be available that comes with $2 refills through February 19th. A Disney photo pass magic shot will also be offered to Magic Keyholders starting on January 8th from dusk until park close. 50% off of Lightning Lane Multipass will be available from January 6th through January 31st for Magic Keyholders. And there are also some deals on stays at Disneyland Resort hotels. Check out the link in the show notes for all the details on all that because there's a ton listed.
I was just trying to check the Magic Key portal on the Disneyland app to see because, of course, you know us. When we see that there's pins, I'm like, what do the pins look like? I have not seen anyone share what the pin set is going to be just yet, but I know that I'm curious. I love that they do the popcorn bucket special with the discounted refills. I wish that was something that was a constant. That if you had one of these magic, like even if it was like an annual thing, like a couple months doesn't feel like it's very long to take, like to really be able to take advantage of that. And popcorn's such a inexpensive item for them to be able to sell at a discounted price that actually
still make
does
money.
impact like the guest, that this would be such a great thing for them to offer more long term. Like I said, if it's not just continuous, at least annual would be a step up and a step better. But these are still very exciting. I love that they do still have perks for being an annual pass holder, now known as a magic key holder. It's extra magic. It's stuff they don't necessarily have to do, but it's fun that they do it anyways. But yeah, I just think it's cool. And things like the Lightning Lane multi-pass, I think that's another fun thing too for them to be able to sell at a discounted rate to the magic key holders. Because again, it's not necessarily something that is costing Disney money to offer. So it's good that they're something that it's an easy thing for Disney to discount, and it benefits. It's a big financial, quote unquote, benefit for the magic key holders if you choose to use the Lightning Lane.
Yeah, all this stuff looks cool. I'm interested to see what the pin looks like. I'm sure in the next week or two, probably by the time we come back after the holiday break that we're going to have, we'll have some more information. Of course, we'll link that in our show notes.
Same thing with what the magic shot's going to be. Those are always fun, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a new set of entrance gates have been unveiled at Disneyland. This is a project that has been progressing through versions for the last year at Disney California Adventure. It appears the resort has landed on a system that will work for them. The new gates allow the guests to scan their own ticket and take photos if one is not on file, allowing entrance with a valid park ticket and reservation. The new system should cut down on the amount of cash needed at the entrance to the parks and could result in faster entry for experienced guests.
So I think these are cool. I think that anytime they update technology, it's good. The part of this that I'm a little sad about that has nothing to do with the gates themselves is they have replaced the manual signs that would say enter and exit and all of that with a digital version that's like above it.
Yep, you and Fresh Baked were both. Well, David was torn about that too.
I'm a little torn just because of the fact that I'm a huge IT fan, obviously, but I've also learned over the years that there's not always the best solution is not always technology, and sometimes it's just easy. The previous thing was literally a customer would just turn it and be done. I guess you could do different things with this, but the turnstiles themselves, which I did not call them turnstiles because you're actually getting rid of the turnstile part of this,
they're kind of like
the new
gates.
Entrance gates. Yeah. I like the idea. When we were in Paris, they had something similar to this, and I liked it, and I thought it went pretty well. My concern is that when cast members are doing the photos for guests, it seems to slow things down, and now you're kind of putting that in the hands of the guests, and I feel like, I've seen similar systems like this going through TSA in airports, and people are slow at it, so I'm just concerned that they think this will be an efficiency when actually it won't be.
I'm curious how this will be, because the other thing is, the article's talking about how it might cut down on cast members. I don't know how many it would actually be cutting down on, because if you look at how the new gates are set up, there is the screen on the guest side, like the exterior, and then there's a screen on the interior. The screen on the interior is showing the cast member the photo, the photo linked to your ticket to make sure that it's that it's your ticket, and I'm not coming in on tags pass type of thing. So they're verifying yep, that's the right person. So I'm curious how that's going to work, because I don't know how one cast member would be able to kind of run up and down and check and be verifying 3 lanes at a time.
I think they'll be
and
2.
Also be able to help when issues arise and people need a little bit more assistance. The thing that I find the most exciting about these is you don't have to worry about if you have strollers or wheelchairs or EVCs, because the entrance gates that they have now are much roomier and much wider, so you don't have to kind of wait off to the side to get let through the inner gate. I think that having that efficiency, that everyone's going through the same line or same flow, however you want to say it, I think that's going to be helpful too. I think that's going to be helpful for the guests that were having to kind of wait off to the side to then get let through the middle, because they're just going to be able to flow on through with everyone else. So I think that's going to help a lot. The one thing I want to say about the digital signs that I see as a perk, because I'm the same. I was also kind of oh, okay, that wasn't necessarily something that needed to be changed. And they also changed the position of where it was. They were kind of hanging below the canopy before. Now they're on top of the roof of the canopy. They look really nice. Don't get me wrong. They did a really nice job blending them into what the overall look of the entrance canopy gates look like. the thing that I think that might be really, that they might be doing with this is, and that's why they went to a digital versus a manual, is think of when you have like after hours nights, you can now say like Sweethearts Night entrance, or you can have magic key holder entrance.
Sure.
You can be more creative and more specific with your entrances. It's not going to just say enter only, exit only,
Sure.
or closed, which is what the manual spinny things did. So they have more creativity and more freedom to make more specific lanes if needed.
I will say that I'm glad that they went with this type of system, because to me, I look at Disney World system, which just has like the magic band scan in kind of things, right? The little Mickeys, and you put your finger on it or whatever, and they don't do a photo. The thing that I always find surprising that Disney ever did that was, I've seen videos online and heard stories. Those are very hard to monitor as a cast member.
Yeah. And there's banks of like 4.
Because there's no barrier to stop you from just walking through. Well, and so I don't know how Disney ever was like, yeah, this will work, because I've seen videos where people get into the park without scanning.
Well, and genuinely there's dishonest people, but I could see people not even realizing, because same thing with security at Walt Disney World. You don't even necessarily know you're going through security. You kind of just walk through this thing, and if there's something in your bag that picks up on their scanner, they'll have you pull over to the side to do a manual bag check. But otherwise, you just keep on a walking. So same thing, I could see them seeing people that aren't familiar with how it works at Walt Disney World, them not realizing, oh, this is the gate.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a physical gate.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, I think it's good, because the turnstiles we have now have been there for, gosh, as far back as I can remember, into the early 2000s. So, it's been a long time, so it's a good upgrade, and hopefully they've worked all the bugs out.
As long as it still has the entrance gate noise.
But even now, they don't have the entrance gate noise.
Okay, if they bring back the entrance gate noise, you're right, they don't have the entrance gate noise right now, do they? Bring back the entrance gate noise, and that will be the cherry on top.
Well, let's hope so. Well, a missing element has returned to the Jungle Cruise. The temple that the Bengal tiger was housed in has been restored. The previous show scene was removed after elements and time had taken its toll. After almost a year and considerable work, the restored scene looks pretty good.
So one thing I noticed, I watched Fresh Bake's coverage on this. The top of it is a different design than what the original one was, which is fine. I'm okay with that. They moved the alligators around, which I'm curious about, because there used to be, the alligators were situated, there was an extra alligator on the steps.
Okay.
So I'm curious where he went, or she, where that alligator went.
Why is that the thing that you're focusing on with this?
Threw me off that the alligator was gone. I am curious too, because wasn't there also a second archway that went over the water, that when the tiger's arch
there was
crumbling, they took out? I'm curious if they will replace that other archway or not.
I'm sure it's coming. I mean, this one would be, of the two, this one was the easier one to replace, because it's not going over where guests go.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. I would love to see a better like side-by-side photo of the two scenes with the first arch and the brand new arch, because it looks massive. I don't remember the tiger seeming so dwarfed by the arch. So I don't know if that's just my memory.
I think part of it is that, and it'll blend in eventually, but it's just very, like, the paint is very dark, where they obviously are doing this because like the sun will wash it out. I think once it kind of is there for a little bit, this will look more natural and part of the environment, where right now it kind of looks like they plopped it in there.
But I don't know. The size of, do you think it's taller?
I don't really care either way.
No, I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
It's probably a little bit taller.
As my sanity check, I'm like, was it that big before?
I think that the top part is a lot thicker.
Oh.
So I think like the height is the same. It's what I mean by the height is like the pillars on the side are the same height. It's just the middle tablet thing is taller than it was.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I'm glad that they're doing this. Jungle Cruise has needed some little updates. Apparently the piranhas are still not working though. They were working when they came back from refurb, but now they're not again.
I did see, because the other part that kind of seems to be in and out of if it's working or not is Maggie and Annette, the two chimpanzees, right before the backside of water. Annette's the one that's got like trying to catch the butterflies, and Maggie's the one that has the magnifying glass. But I did just watch Fresh Bake's coverage from this past week, and those two were working again, which was good. But yeah, those poor piranhas. It seems like it's such a simple effect, but apparently has, it does have some hiccups and some issues.
Oh, this giant crocodile that you're talking about.
That crocodile. Where'd that croc go?
Oh, see, I didn't know. Oh, yeah. My guess is that
taking a vacation
for the installation, they probably moved some of these things out of the way to get it there, and it'll probably come back.
This is what it is. Okay, so the columns look like they're a little bit wider. Like the base columns look like perhaps they're a little bit wider, and yeah, that top part looks like it's taller. So it's not much bigger, but enough that us nerds notice a difference.
And you're talking about, if the camera will turn here, or we'll just see it as they go under it. There's a thing, I think, right by the elephant here that you go under. Yeah, right here.
There it is.
That they have also taken down.
Hopefully that'll come back.
It'll come back, I'm sure.
Another update at Disneyland has happened over at Pixie Hollow. The lagoon area has been under construction for months with no clear explanation on what was being done. Now the walls have come down. We know that a new fountain and water features were being installed. Little themed elements have returned to the area, and the painted blue lagoon looks refreshing and clean. The meet and greet area is still under refurbishment.
So what's funny is our friend David over at Fresh Baked has been covering this for a while, and the surprise that I saw from him on Instagram was, oh, it's open. Like, we weren't expecting this. They had kept pushing the date out, and then all of a sudden it was like, it's open.
Well, the goofy thing is Pixie Hollow itself isn't open, but the lagoon area is open.
This looks great. The blue stuff that they've painted makes it look wonderful. This area's, I think, needed a little TLC for a while.
Yeah.
I think this goes along with the fact that it's the 70th anniversary year and they're trying to get everything in tip-top shape.
Do you want to know what I'm excited about? There's new fountains.
Yeah.
Do you think this means that we're going to get a new... Remember there used to be like that little nighttime fountain, like little nighttime show that they would do?
There's no lights or anything that have been installed with this, so I don't think so.
Maybe. It looks great, though.
It does look great.
The biggest difference, aside from the fountains, is... So what they used to do was the water... It used to just be dyed water that was in there. So it was kind of
like all the attractions.
Yeah, so it's kind of like murky. Now they have like a bright blue paint on the bottom of the lagoon, crystal clear water, and it just it's popping. It is so like clear and crystal and refreshing. It looks now like when you walk over by the Finding Nemo submarine voyage.
Yeah.
It looks like what that water looks like. Like, it's just gorgeous. And like you want to jump in because it's like it's inviting you.
My concern with this, I do love it. My concern is already in the photos. You can see that like some debris have already gotten in there. And of course, when leaves and just, nature gets into it, it's going to start looking funky real quick as long as they keep up with it. Like they have maybe once a week or something, even like these photos. If custodial or maintenance goes through and just squeegees the bottom out like once a week or something, this will probably continue to look good. My concern is that won't happen, and then this is not going to look as great. But right now, it looks amazing, and I can't wait to see it in person. Well, cast members who were working at the resort when Measure L was passed will be getting some back pay. Measure L is the Anaheim minimum wage law. Cast members who were not being paid the Anaheim minimum wage, which took place over 5 years, so like between that passing and cast members getting paid the proper rate over 5 years, will get 100% of their back wages, including overtime, minus tax withholdings, of course. And it comes with a 10% interest on those payments that Disney will pay in addition because they didn't have that money, so they're going to pay interest on it.
This is an awesome, awesome, awesome win for cast members. We always love cast members, right? We know this. They are the magic. Without them, Disneyland just wouldn't it would cease to exist. It would fall into disrepair because it's the cast members that are keeping everything maintained and clean and running smoothly. So we love when cast members are getting treated fairly and correctly. This does make me sad that Disney did this and that Disney was trying to not follow the rules and pay the cast members according to the Measure L stipulations that was passed again for it was for all of Anaheim. So it was the city that was passing this, and that Disney for whatever reason, felt that they could get away with not doing that, that really makes me sad and breaks my heart. But I'm just very, very happy that this was a win for the cast members and that they're going to get all of the pay back, which they deserve, plus 10% interest on what's owed to them. The one thing that does worry me, though, was it was what, like $223 million. It was like a $223 million settlement. $233 million settlement. So it's a very, very large number that Disney's now having to pay. I'm concerned that that money is going to get shifted from something else. And so, like, we're going to, like, move it from here to take care of this over here. So does that mean, like, what shoe's going to drop? Are they pushing back? So it reminds me of, like, when all the entertainment stuff went through and then suddenly, like, all the good stuff for the entertainment cast went through and then suddenly Disney was cutting entertainment.
Yeah.
It makes me worried what the next thing's going to be. I hope there's not going to be a next thing, because I do feel like there are areas at Disneyland that are still very understaffed, and it's really showing. The big one for me being maintenance, ride operation maintenance. We're having a lot of ride issues and rides that are down more than ever before, it feels like. So I feel like the maintenance crews is small and being overworked and not able to see and attend to everything like they need to be doing. So I'm just concerned. Hopefully that's me just being paranoid and there's not going to be a shoe dropping. But yeah.
I hope not. But
we're going to take the win for now.
Yeah, it's good for the cast members. So that's very helpful. I don't know why companies can't just pay the people what they need to be paid and not get caught up in this stuff. But business, I guess.
Yeah.
I up, down, touch the ground. I think of things to chew, like honey and milk and chocolate. With a hefty, happy appetite, I'm a hefty, happy poo. A rumbly in my tumbly means it's time for snacks.
Well, this week, we're going to do snack chat inside the discussion topic, I think, because Teresa's going to talk about food from the cruise ship. So snack chat's not going anywhere. We're just wrapping it into the discussion topic, so we're going to put that in there. Well, just a friendly reminder that we will be off next week, like every year, to enjoy the holiday season. We will be back with an episode on New Year's Day. So see you guys in 2025 after this episode.
DL Weekly announces the boarding of the Trivia Express, non-stop star speeder service to the moon of Endor. All passengers, please prepare for immediate boarding.
Welcome to Trivia Land, our last Trivia Land before Christmas. We've got some great holiday-related questions for you. We're taking a little trip down memory lane, as one does at the holiday times.
Do we get to sing Auld Lang Syne?
If you really want to, I'm not going to stop you. Do you feel confident that you remember holiday questions that were asked of you in 2022 and 2023?
I mean, I'm not even confident of the questions that were asked of us last week, but we can try.
I'm definitely not confident on those questions.
Well, let's see how you do. Your first question that was asked of you by listener Louise B. In the Haunted Mansion holiday overlay, what replaces Madame Leota's musical instruments, and how many objects are there?
Oh, they're tarot cards, but they have all the different, there's like different Nightmare Before Christmas characters on them.
They're probably 12, right? Because it's like the 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah, I'm thinking 12 too.
Yeah.
You're thinking 12? You think that's a lucky number?
Or is it 10? Because she's talking about my, on the 12th day of Christmas, my ghoul love gave to me. And is like the Nutcracker one of the gifts? And there's a star. I know for sure the star is one. I'm going to say 10.
I should probably...
Are you going to stick with 12?
Flip my tarot card out with you, but I'm going to say 12 just to kind of cover the bases.
Well, maybe there's a card for the things too.
We will find out
for sure.
All right. So Tag is saying, 12.
Yep.
And Teresa's saying 10.
Yep.
All right. Final answers.
Final.
And
I don't remember this question at all, Vern.
And that was tarot cards of Nightmare Before Christmas characters?
Yes, tarot cards.
All right. Your second question that was asked of you by listener Kate A. What are the names of the holiday overlays for Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters? And I'm looking for both Halloween and the winter holidays.
Luigi's Joy to the World.
Joy to the World.
For Christmas. So what's Mater's? Mater's
Junkyard Jamboree.
Yeah.
And Luigi's.
You're looking at me like I know.
Honkin' Halloween.
Honkin' Halloween.
The Honkin' Halloween, like Haul.
Oh yeah, Halloween. Yeah, I figured it had something to do with that.
All right, so Tag, you're jumping in the car and going for a ride with Teresa?
We're spinning around. But
that was teamwork, because Tag came up with Joy to the World first.
So you're both cruising the highway together, though.
We're cruising.
Life is a highway. Sorry.
And that's Honkin' Halloween and Joy to the World.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Final answer.
Yeah.
Final.
All right. And your third question, which was asked of you by listener Stacia S. How tall is the Main Street Christmas tree?
Oh, boy.
How many lights are on it? And how many ornaments are on it?
Vern, that's 3 questions.
And the last time you were asked, you didn't get it right.
Well, I'm probably not going to get it right this time either.
I will give you credit if you can ballpark it.
I'm going to say...
And I'm going to make an argument that Teresa is on her way to having almost this many ornaments on our trees.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, come on. Our trees are not nearly that big. This is going to... Okay, so 70 feet came to mind. I don't feel like that's right, though. There's no way it's 70 feet tall.
I think it's taller
right?
than that, isn't it?
You think it's taller?
Well, because what's the castle? The castle's like 150-something feet, and I think it's at least as tall as the castle.
All right, I'm going to stick with 70.
I'm going to say 150 feet for the tree, although...
You're saying it's a 15-story tree.
That's 15 stories?
Yeah, because it's like...
I suppose.
Yeah, that's why I feel like 70.
Oh,
seems
the
like
Matterhorn's like 150-something. The
Okay,
castle's
so
not that big.
Yeah, so it's definitely not as big as the Matterhorn.
So how big is the castle?
90, maybe? I don't know, because like you've got the turrets that are poking up.
I'm thinking
Maybe the
castle might
castle's
be
like 70
60
feet.
something.
I'm sticking with 70.
I'm going to go with 75 just to be different.
Oh, just to be contrarian.
Bob.
$1.
Okay, lights.
Lights.
15,000.
My God.
I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
10,000. $1. One light bulb.
One light bulb.
Yep.
Ornaments. I'm gonna say.
What did I say for lights? 10,000. I'm gonna say ornaments.
They're big, so I'm gonna say like 350.
500.
Oh, okay.
Vern just gave me the look, which is either that was way too many or
that look was for
not.
both of you.
Oh no. That means we're very off.
Yeah, that's all right. That's how it happens.
Your height was the closest number you had.
Okay, well, that's something.
All right.
The closest. That doesn't mean even close. Just means the closest.
Yeah.
And your fourth and final regular round question, which was asked of you by producer James. What is the name of the proprietor of Plaza Point, the Disneyland holiday shop? A place to get your fix for Christmas and the other holidays all year round.
We reported on like the backstory for this location, but I don't remember it at all.
I don't either.
I'm just going to throw out a totally wrong answer and say Mrs. Claus. Good luck, Teresa.
Because it's all holidays. That's the you know what I mean? Harrison M. Holiday.
Harrison M. Holiday?
Mm-hmm.
Final
Where'd you
answer?
get Harrison from?
I don't know. Oh, no, I do know. We'll talk about it in the treasure chat later for the discussion topic.
All right.
All right. And your bonus question, which was also asked by producer James. What is the longest running holiday parade at Disneyland?
The Christmas Fantasy Parade.
Is it?
That's what I'm going with.
I can't think of another Christmas parade, I suppose.
That's what I was thinking. That's the only one that comes to mind.
But I thought it started. Didn't it start in like 97 or something? Or no, I always think everything started in 97 for some reason. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Maybe it did. Maybe all the things started.
All of the things. Disneyland is 70 years old, but it started in 1997.
But I mean, arguably, even if it did start in 97, if it's been running continuously since then, that's a long time. I mean, Disney doesn't run one thing for that long. I mean, I'm not even trying to give you the answer per se. I'm just saying Disney runs things for like 10 years and then drops them.
Yeah.
So one thing running
Teresa cheated, 1995.
We looked to see when it started.
Oh, sure.
We didn't see if it was the longest running, but just when it started.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that seems then, if it's 1995, I mean, what is that, 20? That's almost 30
That's a
years.
lot.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And the park's only 70. Only 70. Anyway, yeah. So, Christmas Fantasy, why not?
Unless that's only the second. Maybe there's been 2 Christmas parades, so the other one's been just
maybe.
that much longer.
Maybe.
We'll find out.
All right. So, Christmas Fantasy, final answer.
Final answers.
All righty.
Hitching my sleigh to that set of reindeer.
Well, listeners, how did you feel about this trip down memory lane? Did you remember the answers? How do you feel they did with the answers? If you stick around until after the discussion, we can all find out together.
Well, this week for our discussion topic, we are, of course, going to talk about the amazing opportunity that Teresa got to go and experience the newest Disney cruise ship, which actually hasn't even had its inaugural sailing yet.
It's technically has not had any guests aboard yet. It's all
It has, just not.
It has, just not like official sailings, which is amazing.
So for people who don't know, how did this come about?
So the reason that I got to be a part of this incredible opportunity was our friends over at ConciEARs. They were invited on this preview sailing as travel agents to, check out the ship so that they can see what all it has to offer, so that they can then share all the awesome, fun things with clients to let them know about all the cool, amazing things that are going on. The other side of this cruise is it is a preview cruise. And so again, the ship's technically not officially sailing yet. So it's also for Disney to be able to kind of work out some of the bumps and some of the kinks to try and make sure that everybody kind of has a couple of dry runs, I guess. That's a bad thing.
Shakedown cruises.
Yeah. A couple, so they can kind of, work out any of the
Just
hiccups.
get used to all the new things. Cast members are working on a new ship they've never worked on before. There's new equipment. There's new venues.
New
So yeah, of course you're going to need that for any type of thing. So, well, let's start with one that I'm just really curious about, which is what's first impression? Like your first stepping onto the ship. What was kind of because you come into that gorgeous atrium. Mm-hmm. So what was your first impression of the ship?
I was completely blown away, and will be totally honest, I was emotional. I don't know what it was about it, but just standing in that big, grand, beautiful space. And I think maybe it was the whole leading up and seeing the concept art, because we kind of watched the ship be designed and kind of come to life. So to then suddenly be in this space, knowing that it was this amazing once in a lifetime opportunity, that it's a Disney preview cruise, and that I was one of the first people to ever set foot in this space.
Pretty cool.
Was amazing. The girls probably were laughing at me because I would point out weird stuff. You could touch the handrails and still feel the grain of the wood in handrails.
Oh.
And just weird stuff that you don't realize that, of course it's a wooden handrail.
Thousands of people have touched it.
Yeah, exactly. So there was just, and everything was just pristine. The car, I mean, I was on the Magic. The Magic's the original Disney Cruise Line ship. So obviously that's seen some wear and tear and seen some people, but Disney keeps things they keep things fresh. We actually were on the Magic right before they were going into dry dock, which means that they were going to do a deep refurb and cleaning up of stuff. They actually rethemed a couple of the lounges and stuff that we had been in. But just to be in a space that was brand spanking new, the cast was incredibly excited. Everybody on the ship was also just in awe. It was just kind of this pinch me moment the first time standing in that atrium. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. Photos, I feel, don't really justify it. It's just so grand and majestic.
It seems So you went on before this. You were on the Magic, which is the one of the smaller ships. I went on the Dream, which is the sister ship to the Fantasy, which is kind of like was the bigger size.
Yeah, now it's Mead.
And now it's the medium-sized ship. I'm looking at this atrium, which we'll have linked in the for Disney Parks blog that's about this. And this thing is massive, even, compared to... They just keep getting bigger, it seems like.
Yeah. And it's got this gorgeous, grand, swooping staircase that has like fun little light and magic that comes alive at certain points, and it
goes up all 3 stories because
the
one on the Dream only went to the 2nd floor.
Yep, goes up all 3 stories.
So I know I don't want to get off track, but my question is, what's this stuff over here? Okay,
there's like a stage. So there was a stage, and then there was like a balcony above the stage. The balcony above the stage, different characters would be up there. So when we first walked on, I want to say it was Rapunzel and Flynn Rider that were up there, greeting and welcoming guests on board.
Up on the balcony.
And we also had, I think, Tiana and Naveen were up there at a point welcoming people. The genie popped up there at one point. But yeah, so the characters would meet up there. The other cool thing too is they built into the different levels different like meet and greet stations, I'm gonna call it.
That's
for
good.
Characters. So like on the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor, you can kind of see those little bump outs there on the stairs, and then above the stairs there, and then there was other bump outs like on the side of the. So it was cool. So you could be standing in the middle of the atrium and like look up and be like, oh look, there's. At one point it was like, oh, there's Belle, there's Daisy, there's Peter Pan. There was like 5 characters that we could see just from standing in the middle of the atrium. So you can kind of like wander over to where it is you want to go. I could not get enough of the statue that's in the atrium. The statue, of course, is of Aladdin and Jasmine riding on the magic carpet, and it looks like they're floating in air. The lamp is off to the side, the magic lamp. I know that it, like in my brain, I understand that this big bronze statue is clearly attached to the staircase in some form or fashion, but they did such an amazing, you cannot tell. It really truly looks like this big, larger than life bronze statue
It's flying.
is just floating in midair. I could not get, every time we were in this space, you were just kind of drawn to this.
I really like the magic lamp.
The magic lamp comes to life for the midnight kiss.
Like.
And then it's like the magic kind of like comes alive all up around the staircase. And the whole grand hall like would transform in different things. There was different lighting, different colors. There was projector things that they used. It was so cool. It was so immersive.
So you got first impressions. What category do you want to start with?
Let's just continue on with like the overall design of the ship.
Sure.
So this is different from the Magic. The Magic, the Fantasy, the Dream, and the Wonder. So the 4 original ships all have multiple banks of, well, this had multiple banks too, but there's 3 banks of elevators in those. There's one in the middle and then one on either end of the ship. Whereas with the Wish and the Treasure, they don't have the middle bank anymore because you have these grand atriums or grand main lobbies, however you want to call it. But that kind of made it, some people don't like that because then you have to go either to the forward or the aft to get to an elevator bank to then get up and down to where you want to go. It didn't really bother me that much. It didn't feel, this is a much, much bigger ship. For me, it didn't feel like it was forever a ways away to get to an elevator. And I really enjoyed having the staircase in that main atrium, main lobby section to be able to easily go bounce up and down from level to level and just be in the midship, because they did have most of the things centralized in the midship anyways. The restaurants and the theaters were more in the forward and the aft portions of the ship. So it wasn't very often that you were having to walk the full length of the ship. Decks, I'd say 3, 4, and 5 were mainly where all of the things to do were, and then it was like decks 11, 12, and 13 were some of the other places too. That was where your pools were, the buffets, your outside dining, soft serve, because let's face it, that's a very important. The first day, I could not figure out where the soft serve was. I finally had to break down and ask somebody. I don't know if we actually found it the first day or maybe it wasn't until the second day. So I am very ashamed that I did not get to have soft serve every day, because to me that's like part of a cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Is the soft serve. And Lindsay and I could not, we couldn't figure it out. We finally had to break down and ask. This was different. On this ship, you don't have soft serve. And that's what we were looking for. It's like a counter service thing. So you asked and a cast member swirled it for you and then handed it to you. So we walked past it several times, but we thought it was.
Why do you think that is?
Something else. I don't know if it's like a hygiene thing or if it's just make sure that things stay clean and people aren't. I don't know. I have no idea. There was other stuff with it too. Like you could get fruit and stuff. So as we walked past, we were looking at the front, which showed like the other items you could get the same spot and didn't look behind the counter to see that there was the soft serve. But
gotcha.
It was in the, what was it? The festival. I can't remember what they called it, but the Feastival or something. It was where all the food, the poolside food things were at. It was one of those little things.
Oh, here we go. Like on the Disney main site for the map, they don't have anything labeled, so I had to find this other thing because I was just curious to see where things are.
But everything's felt very centralized, so I didn't really feel like I was running around all over the place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because most of the other levels were just rooms. We were very fortunate. We were on deck 6. So we were deck 6 mid. So we were very centralized of where our room was too. So we were able to not have to just rely on using elevators. It was easy to use stairs as well.
Sure.
So
interesting.
Just real quickly too, with how this ship is laid out, all of the things I was looking forward to the most were just right off the Grand Hall. So the Haunted Mansion parlor was just off. The Skipper Society was right there. The Scat Cat Lounge was also right there. So it was really easy to kind of get over to those areas. And because they were kind of centralized, you went past these areas frequently. So every night when we were going to see whatever show was playing at the Walt Disney Theater, we were lined up and we were right next to Skipper Society or whatever. So you got to really see and experience these spaces without having to be it wasn't a destination. Does that make sense?
Sure.
You could make it a destination, but you also just got to, especially the Skipper Society, because it was in the middle. There was a hallway on either side of it. So it was kind of in the middle of where you were going. So you got to experience that really amazing theming without having to be committed to sitting in the lounge.
Sure.
And having a drink. When we first got on the ship, I don't know, because this was a very, very different cruise. So I don't really know if this is normal or if this was unique to this cruise. But we kind of started exploring right away from the Grand Hall and went over and checked out the Skipper Society as well as the Scat Cat Lounge. And I think that was really neat. They had drinks out. They had made drinks and set them out and had them on display. So again, I don't know if that was unique to it being a preview cruise or if that's always happening on cruises, which makes sense because you're kind of advertising, hey, this is what you can get and experience here. Or maybe they just had it out for photo op type things since it was travel agents and influencer type folks that were on this cruise. But I thought that was really, really cool. Scat Cat Lounge was so fun. It was a piano theme bar. And it was themed to the Aristocats. And if you kind of looked at the wallpaper, you could see some of the familiar characters. The big grand piano that was in the center highlight of the space had golden cat paws on the lid.
That's cool.
It was super cute. They had really fun wallpaper. There was the Duchess and O'Malley, the alley cat. That's his name. Thomas, the alley cat, were dancing in neon right behind the piano. The bar was kind of off to the side. So the main focal point of the Scat Cat Lounge was the piano. And yeah, so it was the main piano bar, which was really, really cool. Skipper Society, of course, was very, very themed to the Jungle Cruise. When you stepped aboard, you were actually stepping aboard a Jungle Cruise boat. And you had the canvas overhead.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the bar was really themed to look like the front of the Jungle Cruise boat. It even had a name, which I don't remember what the name is off the top of my head. All of the different seats and everything looked like they were safari or jungly and there was a stage there, so they had live bands that happened there during the daytime. They had different crafts and activities and stuff like that going on in this space.
So I have a question. I've seen your videos, I've seen pictures and stuff online. My question is, it seems like a lot of these highly themed areas, like the Skipper Society and the Haunted Mansion Bar and all of that stuff, they seem like they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're like quaint little spaces, that they're not like massive.
Right. Yep. They are. Yeah.
So do you think that these are going to be difficult to get into as a guest when the ship is full?
So before I forget, the boat name for the Skipper Society, or the Jungle themed lounge, the Jungle Cruise themed lounge, is the EMS Empress.
Okay.
You can see the name plaque right above the bar there. The Skipper Society one did get full fast. But again, the nice thing was there was plenty of space because you had hallways on either side of it. So if there was a band playing and maybe all the seats were taken, you could still kind of be adjacent to the space and enjoy the entertainment. The Haunted Mansion parlor is, yes, it is quaint. When the ship opens, they are going to be having a 45-minute time limit for
folks. Like Oga's Cantina,
yep.
kind of.
So it's kind of, yeah, exactly. There was, since this was a preview cruise and there wasn't, full capacity ship going on, we did not have that. The time we went in there was probably the worst time to have gone in there, because we went right when it opened on Friday, which was our day at sea. And so we did have a line that we waited in, and it was very full when we were in there, because I think a lot of people were just really excited because they had a special private event going on Thursday. So it didn't open when it should have opened. So and of course everybody was super excited to get in this space, because I think this was probably the highest anticipated public space of the ship. There were also other very highly anticipated parts of the ship that are rooms that not everybody gets to go in unless you have gotten those rooms. But yeah, it was amazing. As a Haunted Mansion fan, even though it was like very, very full in there when we were in there, when we first got in there, I still felt like I had space to roam and experience all of the different things. If there was a 45-minute time limit, they were not they weren't like enforcing it super hard when we were in there, which was nice. So we got to just kind of sit there and relax for a while. We sat at the bar, which was super fun, because then we got to watch all of the different cocktails being made. And the bartenders were super friendly and like showing off different things, like, oh, have you guys, have you seen this one be made yet? And like showing off like the bride cocktail, which like had a glow cube in the cup and like made it glow red, like it was blood. I don't know. It was so cool. So cool.
Did you have a drink or something there? What did you have?
Of course
What did you have?
I did. So I laugh because the drink that I ended up getting there looked like the kids' drink. Like you wouldn't have thought that there was alcohol in it, because it was like blue.
Okay.
And then had whipped cream on top with a gummy eyeball.
Do you remember what it was called?
I gotta figure out what it was called. I kept forgetting what it was called. I got The Regions Beyond, which didn't sound, when I was reading it, it didn't sound like it would look like the NA like fun mocktail thing, but it looked like a fun mocktail thing. But in our group, we just happened to like get almost every cocktail. So somebody had gotten the Chilling Challenge. I think it was Bethany had gotten the Chilling Challenge. I got the Reason Beyond. Happily Never After, I believe Hannah had gotten. And then Lindsay had gotten the Sympathetic Libations, which was like the best kind of NA drink there was, because her drink looked cooler than my drink. Like mine looked like the little kid, like fun drink, but hers looked like, had like a beautiful fancy glass. There was some spirits that made their way onto her drink as well that the bartender showed off. So it was both the Chilling Challenge beverage and the Sympathetic Libations beverage had like extra magic that went along with them. I don't want to spoil what the extra magic was for everyone, but yeah, there were definitely a few times that ghosts were following us home, we'll just say. But yeah, the other cool thing is we got to sit right at the bar, which meant we had the quote unquote like portal into the beyond, aka the giant mirror behind the bar, which is where all the different, like every so often you'd hear like thunder crack and stuff would come alive in the parlor. And one of the things that would happen would be playful spooks would show up on the mirror. So I'm trying to think who all we got to see. We got to see Madame Leota floating around up there. We got to see the band from the graveyard, the Hatbox Ghost, the hitchhiking ghosts. In the graveyard, the little guys that like pop up. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like the
little jump guys.
Yeah.
Yep, those little guys. The opera singer and the mummy were up there for a little bit. There was a lot of like kind of deep cuts. I want to say almost everybody in the graveyard scene makes an appearance on that. And it's not all the time. So we sat there for we were probably in the space for over an hour.
Sure.
And I do think we got to see all the different things come to life while we were there for that hour and a half, which is really cool.
Did you go into the Star Wars themed lounge?
There is no Star Wars
Oh,
themed
this
lounge.
is just
That's
like
on the Wish.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
So this is kind of pulling from that.
Yep.
That's interesting because this is a Wish and the Treasure. I gotcha.
Yep. It's the layout for both, but there's different things in both.
I gotcha. Cool.
The other fun thing was there was tons of coffee spaces. Tons and tons and tons. No cold brew, but just regular, not themed cold brews like we have at Disneyland, but tons of coffee spaces. There was a Hey coffee space that immediately I took a picture and sent to Tag of. There was, what was
Teresa
it?
has quite
The Jade
shoot
Cricket.
Of her treasure coffee.
I did. I did a photo shoot with one of my coffees because if you've been on a Disney cruise or if you've never been on a Disney cruise, maybe you do not know that there's extra magic with your coffee. They will do like coffee, like foam art, and it's printed on there. So it's very intricate. So one of the times I got coffee, I had Elsa was printed on the top of my foam. And I mean like the most fine detail of lines. It was crazy. Bethany had gotten Moana printed on hers once. I asked for the treasure logo at one point because I figured you have to be on the correct ship to get the logo. So I got the treasure logo. But yeah, it was so fun to see, what you were going to get. Because you can request specific things or you can just leave it up to the barista to theme your drink however they please. The Jade Cricket Cafe was on the deck above. So that was themed to like Mulan and Cricky, the little cricket. They had little nods to that film and that character specifically. Same thing with the Hey Cafe. There was nods to Hey as well as just these really beautiful mosaics that were in the hallway next to it too. There was a lot of mosaics in the ship and I was obsessed.
I feel like I need to be upset at the fact that I don't drink coffee and there's a coffee shop.
You can still, it's just a cafe. It's a Hey Cafe. So they had non-coffee drinks there too. So you could get other things there if you wanted.
I can't believe they have a Hey Cafe. I feel like this is automatically becoming like my favorite spot.
So other really cool, neat spaces that were on the ship. There was Hook's Barbery. So it was a Captain Hook's themed barber shop. Tons of different details and theming inside that space. And then on the opposite side of that was the Untangled Salon, which of course was Tangle themed. Really gorgeous. We were able to go and explore those spaces as well. There was Club Sarabi, which was like a Lion King themed club. It was a 2-story club. Oh, wow. And there was really awesome entertainment and trivia that would happen in that space as well. Of course, the gorgeous Walt Disney Theater, which was all the big nighttime stage shows happened on that. Great pools. It was a little difficult for us to find the Quiet Cove. So that's like the adults only area of the pool ship thing at first. But then we realized that's actually probably a good thing that that's not an easy thing to find. Because on the Magic, it was just like there was literally this little wall in between the main pool area and the adults only area. So a lot of kids would just go back there not realizing they weren't supposed to be back there.
Sure.
Whereas this was very obviously, like not very obviously, but since it wasn't obvious, it wasn't like you couldn't accidentally get over there, if that makes sense.
Did you get a chance to experience the like kids area?
Yes.
So
we
what's
got to
new
go
on
in
this one?
I've never been in the kids areas on the other ships.
Okay, well,
so
what do they have?
There is multiple kids spaces on the ship. They range by age. So we'll start with the littlest of adventures, and we went to It's a Small World Nursery. Super gorgeously themed. I took video, of course.
Oh, there's like a little train that goes around the top.
It's very Small World-esque and very, it feels very much like that. It's not 3D, but it's got all of your favorite little characters. So there's Yeah, it's amazing. There's this slow moving train, the most tranquil music you will ever hear.
It's a Small World.
No, it's not. It's a Small World. And
Nice.
just all this really fun artwork everywhere. Like
so colorful.
Very bright, very colorful, very fun. There was all like everybody. It seemed like all different parts of the Disney and Marvel and Pixar universes were represented somewhere in this space. It was really gorgeous. And then the next thing, there was kind of a space that was more for like, I don't want to say toddlers, but it would be the next age group up. So I guess maybe toddlers would be what it was called. I don't remember what it was called, what the space was called, but it was like ship and nautical themed. So it had all these fun little things like on the ground.
Is that just the Oceaneers Club in
No,
general?
this isn't the Oceaneers Club. This was something else. But it may have been like, still
That's
like
this, right?
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. It's Mickey and Minnie's Captain's Deck. You're right. But it was very cute.
That is
like
cute.
It was cruise themed. They had a big section where you could like be the captain of the ship, and they had like a magic portal that made it look like you were looking out. But yeah, it was really fun, really gorgeous. Next door to that was the Fairy Tale Hall, which was very highly themed to different spaces. There was like a Frozen themed area. There was like Royal Hall themed areas. And I think how it works is the princesses come and hang out with the kids and do like story time and do crafts with them and all sorts of stuff. We got to go into the Walt Disney Imagineering Lab, which was the coolest space. I loved the decorations.
What was in here?
What was in so it was like a workshop, like a workspace. And so they said that Imagineers would come and like teach the kids and like do stuff with the kids.
Oh, that's cool.
In there. It was really, really neat.
Teresa's like, I want to be a kid again.
Yeah,
and go in there.
100%. The most weird, nerdy thing that I thought was the coolest thing ever. They have these wild hand washing stations, and I'm like, was so.
Oh yeah, you put your arms in them or whatever, and they clean.
You just like you put your hands in them, and it's like these cylinders that then spin around and have like a specific amount of water and soap spraying at you at the exact right temperature, and you have your hands in there for, I don't remember, it was like one of them we did was warmer water and it was shorter, and then the other one was longer.
Sure.
And then when it was done, you'd take your hands out and then you'd wipe them dry, because the blow drying of your hands is actually more sanitary to wipe your hands off with like a paper towel. So they were fun. They were super fun. I was like, the fact that we first saw them in the Imagineering Lab, I'm like, this makes total sense. But they're also in the Oceaneer Club as well. But I wanted to just like stay in the Imagineering Lab always. The wallpaper was like all sorts of sketches of Disney characters.
That's
it was
cool.
so cool. And then the actual like lab itself had different like, I don't know, like they made it look like it was like an Imagineer's workshop. There was a 3D printer that had like Figment, a 3D printed Figment in it. I did. I was so excited. There was different like maquettes for the ship, so like the big it's Hook and Peter Pan that are on the back of the ship, so they had kind of like the finished maquettes of that in a display case. There was all sorts of fun little Easter eggs. There was a model of the ship that then also had like all sorts of different like Imagineering plans in it. So like all the different different samples of carpets and paints and wallpapers and
all the stuff Imagineers need to make the ship come to life.
All the different details. There was you could build your own roller coaster, and they had a roller coaster simulator.
Neat.
That you could do, which was so funny to watch Lindsay do. She built her own roller coaster, and when you look at the screen, it looked like she looked and felt like she was moving, but me standing behind her, nothing was moving. Yeah. So, but she said it felt really real. I'm like, that's
amazing what your body will do.
So that was a really fun space. There was also a very immersive Star Wars cargo bay area and a Marvel Superhero Academy. The Star Wars cargo bay was adorable. It was similar to Galaxy's Edge and like that feel, but there was creatures all over the place. So there's all sorts of different interactive games that they could play. Apparently Chewbacca would come and help the kids with different things. You could take care of the creatures that were in their little spaces and like make sure that feed them and check on them and all that stuff. The Marvel Superhero Academy, you could create your own superhero. You got to like design your own suit, and then there was like not really virtual reality, but it was kind of
You
like
could
how
stand and it would show.
like how Web Slingers works, that you could like be like fighting the things.
Sure.
So it was like an interactive video game like that was
That's neat.
motion controlled. Very, very cool. And then the highlight, second highlight was the hand washing thing, because that was so cool, is during one of the open houses, there's a slide that takes you from the 3rd floor down to the 2nd floor, because that's where all these kids areas were.
Mm-hmm.
And they let us go down the little slide. And the slide was Jungle Book themed, and like the main entry area was Jungle Book themed.
Is that this Oceaneers Club check-in area?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
cool.
So we got to go down the slide, which was super, super fun. Again,
Jealous.
and this is something that you can do if you go on a cruise, like the first day. These spaces normally have open houses, and so then you can go like down the slides and whatever. We were able to go down the slide. It was the day that we were at Castaway Key, and so the kids' clubs weren't open on the ship because the kids' club on the island was open instead. So we were able to go down and use the slide at that point, which was, crazy, super fun. The other cool thing that I'm going to talk about real quick before I forget is we got to go, the Aqua Mouse is on this ship as well, and that is an attraction at sea. It's like a water attraction at sea. We were very fortunate because it was very, very windy during our sailing, and so they actually had to close it quite often due to the winds. So we were able to finally get on it and go, and I was not expecting. You're on a like inflatable raft thing as you're going through this. So we were all like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, you're not going to get, no, we got soaked because there's like so many when you're going through the lift hill, in essence, there's all these different screens of, whatever trouble Mickey and Minnie are getting into. While we were going through, they were like an archaeological dig type thing.
Okay.
There were like darts that were being shot at us. So there's all sorts of water effects in this tube. And we just got soaked. But it was so much fun. It was very cute. I wish it was a little longer, but it does like go around the ship. You go out over the ocean for part of it. And that part, you're like, the tube that you're in is clear. It was super crazy fun, though. It was a lot of fun.
I was going to ask you about, because we're looking at the floor here, and I know I don't want to talk about the food yet. I just want to talk about the layout. I'm looking at this, and you were talking to me before the podcast a little bit about this. There is a dining room here off the Grand Hall that is one restaurant, but on the map is like 2 places.
Yeah, so there was 2 of those that were like that. So 1923, as well as the Worlds of Marvel, it was, instead of like one huge dining space, it was kind of sectioned off into 2 halves. So, which was really nice because then it didn't feel like you were in this mass of people also dining with you. It felt a little bit more intimate, if that makes sense.
Did you like it?
I did like it.
Yeah.
The space that we sat in for 1923, I can actually like point it out to you. We were like in that top corner there. So we were like right there. So that would not have been the spot I would have picked because we were right up against a wall on 2 sides of where we were sitting. So it felt a little close and enclosed.
Claustrophobic a little bit.
But like walking around the rest of it, they have these gorgeous display cases that had showcased all sorts of different concept and like different processes of all sorts of different animated films. The section that we were sitting in was from The Lion King, so it had different character renderings, like the early stages of what characters, you could tell what the character was, but it wasn't the one that you like would recognize because it wasn't the final version from screen kind of thing. But it was really, really interesting. And then again, they had like little like paint samples and stuff for what the character colors were. It was a really, really cool area.
It looks really cool from the little bit I can see when I'm just kind of Googling around. I'm sure you have photos too, but yeah. Did you get to experience the Arendelle dining adventure?
No, because
Coco?
it's so
or the Coco,
on
Coco.
Wish it's Arendelle, but yeah, on the Treasure it's Plaza de Coco, and yes, we did. It was
because that's a show.
It's a show.
Too?
Yep,
okay.
It's a show. So there was a big square stage in the middle that all the different tables were kind of around.
Okay.
So obviously, the closer you were to the stage, the quote unquote better view you had. But you had a view of the stage from practically anywhere in the restaurant. They did a really great job of having the sound everywhere. So even if you couldn't have, if you didn't have the like best view, you could still understand and hear everything that was going on. And it was more musical than it was visual of a show, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't them solidly performing during dinner. It was kind of like in sections, I guess, if that makes sense. There was a mariachi band, so Miguel was there, Hector, Mama Imelda were both there as well in the version that we saw. So for the Treasure, there are 2 shows because it's primarily 7-night cruises that they're doing for the first couple of months, maybe first year. And so you're going through your dining rotation restaurants twice.
Oh.
And so the Plaza de Coco actually has 2 shows that you'll see. We saw what the second show would be. So we weren't able to see what both shows were going to be, but we saw what the second show was going to be.
That's
Lots
cool,
of
though.
favorites from the film, like songs from the film. But yeah, it was really, really fun. So if it wasn't maybe like one of the characters performing, the mariachi band was doing different songs as well, or maybe it would just be ambiance music in between when they were taking their breaks and all that. But yeah, it was really, really fun.
That sounds really
gorgeously themed too. Absolutely gorgeously themed.
So I have another question, and this might be different because I'm looking at a map that's supposedly both ships. What's Marceline Market?
Marceline's Market is the buffet.
So then what is the Mickey and Friends Festival of Foods?
Festival of Foods was all the like pool deck spots. So that's where the soft serve is. So the Festival of Foods, there was a like barbecue station.
Okay.
There was a build your own like taco bar station, a pizza station. There was like a burgers and hot dog station, and then the soft serve.
Okay, so this is like similar to when I was on the Dream that they had like the cars themed, like where you got a burger or whatever on the deck. Yeah,
but this is a little opposite of. So for what it was on the Magic, the food booths kind of faced where the pool was. This was actually opposite. The food booths were all like not facing the pools, and which made it nicer because it felt like you had more seating area around it, and it was not as busy and chaotic because you didn't have like kids running from the pool over to go grab a slice of pizza and then run back over, whatever. So it was really nice.
Did you get a chance to actually eat at the buffet?
Yes.
Okay. How was the buffet?
We did the buffet for breakfast and for lunch a couple of times. The buffet was honestly I think I can confidently say it was a favorite place to eat for all of us. Same with the little Festival of Foods spots. Really delicious food, quick grab and go, fresh, really awesome.
Do they like on the Dream they did this? They rotate food like every day? Like
it wasn't like there was like one station that would rotate stuff. Several. No. I take that back. There was quite a bit of rotation. So like for breakfast, you would always find like pancakes and waffles, but stuff like they did not have the churro waffle.
I was going to ask you.
No, I still have not gotten to experience a churro waffle. But things like they had different parfaits and stuff like that. Those wouldn't be the same every day. And there was there was one station that like fully rotated out. Every day it was completely different stuff.
Did you ask about the waffles?
I did not ask about the churro waffles, no.
If you ever go on a Disney Cruise Line and you can, and they offer it, churro waffles is where it's at.
Again, I feel very spoiled because I actually just had a check-in for our family cruise yesterday. So like a day after I got off of the Treasure, I had to check in for our next cruise. So I'm going on the Fantasy at the end of mid to end of January. So I wasn't feeling like I needed the churro waffle because I'm like, I have another opportunity in a month to hopefully try them. So hopefully on the next cruise I'll be able to finally try them.
All right. So we're talking about food. Let's talk about the food. What did you get to have for the dining rooms? How was the food gracious. Overall?
Overall, the food was pretty good. I was a little This is crazy. I did not go into this looking at what the menus were going to be before getting on the ship.
Okay.
And if you would have asked pre-cruise Teresa, which restaurant menu and food are you most excited to have and which are you least excited about? 1923 would have been my top, like most anticipated, most excited about.
Okay.
And the World of Marvel was actually, of all the dining, I'm like, I don't know. That just didn't seem that fun and exciting to me. Flip it. My least favorite food on the ship was the 1923 dining. And I had an absolute blast at the World with Marvel, and actually lots of delicious food. And Plaza de Coco hit exactly it was hitting exactly my expectations for food and entertainment, and actually above my I had pretty high expectations for that one, and it met those, and it was really, really awesome. So 1923, the thing that I think that was a little difficult about that was that was the first place that was our first dining location. And so it was the first night that we were meeting our servers. And again, we were kind of seated in a weird corner, so we didn't really get to see very much of the restaurant, which is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So it felt a little cramped based on where we were sitting. There was some confusion with me because I have a mushroom intolerance. So we put that in on the app before we went. So they were treating it like I had it was an allergy. And so I was only given the allergy menu, which was a little confusing because the allergy menu had mushrooms on it. So the mushrooms is a very it's unique. It's not one of the common things like dairy or gluten
or nuts.
Yeah, or nuts, which is what the allergy menu was kind of tailored for, which made total sense. But it didn't quite make sense in my situation, which was fine.
I do want to say that when we were on the Dream, Disney does not mess around with allergies.
No.
James wanted to order, there was a dessert or something, and it didn't have nuts on it, but the chef, our server went and asked about it, and our server came back and said the chef said he won't give it to you because it's been near nuts, or he doesn't want to chance it.
No, yeah.
And so it wasn't up to James, it wasn't up to the server. It was the chef is we're not going to feed this to you. So I appreciate that Disney takes it very seriously, because I feel like I am not allergic to any type of foods that I'm aware of. But I know, and we've had people on the podcast
they
before
can be very serious.
They can be very serious. Yeah. And I do believe that there are some establishments that don't take it as seriously as Disney. Disney is deathly serious with it, and their chefs will not send you out something if they have any thought that it's going to make you sick or anything like that. But you're in a different situation. But I thought that what you're saying is kind of interesting, that you're I have a mushroom allergy, and then they gave you a menu that had mushrooms.
So when I saw, and it was obviously it's the allergy friendly menu, so it was different than what the main menu was. And I was looking, and from my perspective, when I was looking at stuff, there was more things without my specific item on it on the main menu than it was on the allergy menu. So I asked if I could switch off. So, which was kind of a thing I had to tell them that I was taking
you're taking responsibility.
I was taking responsibility and all that kind of stuff. So, which was different because when I was on the Magic, I did the same thing. I said that, hey, I've got this mushroom thing, and I never was presented with the allergy menu. So I don't know if this was specific to our set of servers, if the rules have changed on Disney ships, that if you have an allergy, because that was the other thing too, is when we signed up for the thing, I don't think there was anywhere that I could make a comment what my specific allergy was. I think it was just,
do you have food allergies?
Yeah. Do you have special dietary restrictions?
Yeah.
Yay or nay kind of thing. So it was more generalized. They did explain that they have a separate kitchen for all of the allergy foods. So it
again,
did,
taking it very seriously.
Which was great. But the downside of that was then it did take a little bit longer for the person at the table that was ordering off of that menu to then get the food. So it made service a little wonky because 3 of us were getting our meals and our appetizers all at the same time, and then one person would have to wait. And we kind of had to, again, we knew it was growing pains going in because that's part of a preview cruise.
Yeah. So
it did get better as it went on, but it was just a little bumpy of a start, I'll say. But the thing that was wild though, so what did I get? I got a charcuterie plate, which was very, very good. There was a white onion soup that I got that was also good. It was creamy. I was kind of expecting it to be a French onion.
Yeah. Nope,
it was creamy, delicious. And then I ended up getting something off of the lighter fare menu, which was, it was okay. I was expecting, I had higher expectations for it than what it was. It was a sirloin steak, and it was just, it was a steak. It was really well cooked, but it wasn't a very great cut of steak.
Oh, sure.
So it was okay. The desserts were very delicious, though.
I feel like desserts are always delicious.
There was a grapefruit cake and a creme brulee. I had to get the creme brulee. Every time there's creme brulee, That's what I'm getting. So I got the creme brulee, and then I saw this thing, and it was a grapefruit cake, and it said something about how it was somehow tied to California. And I was like, I have no idea what this is. I asked Bethany, who lives in Southern California, do you know what this is? And she's like, no, I have no idea what this is. I'm like, we need to try this for science, if anything. So it was so good.
And it's
though.
a cruise. If you're ever going to try stuff, the cruise is the place to do it.
It was a layered cake. It was very light and airy, and it had like different creams. It was so delicious.
That's
I
good.
was not sure what I was expecting when I read it.
Was that the only night that you could get it or whatever? Too?
That was
Wow.
was the only restaurant that had the grapefruit cake on the menu, and I was really glad that I tried it. Very, very good.
That does sound good.
So the next day it was Plaza de Coco that we went to.
Because how many nights were you on this?
3
nights.
3 nights. There was no bread service there. It was chips and salsa.
Oh, I was just going to say no
themed.
bread. What? Oh.
Very well themed, chips and salsa.
Disney does have pretty good bread service.
There was a birria empanada that I got as my
Ooh.
starter, as well as a guacamole. The funny thing about the guac was it was a very generous portion of guac, and it only had 2 chips like poked in it. But apparently we were like very, very hungry that day because we ate our massive bowl of chips that was in the middle, because I'm sure the thought is you have plenty of chips on your
Sure.
table. We don't need to give you more chips if you order the guac. But we'd eaten all of our chips, so we kind of messed that one up. But it was really...
Did they bring you more chips?
We could have asked, but like I had 2 entrees, so I didn't need,
sure.
I didn't need more. Delicious. That empanada thing, 3 of us at the table got it, and everybody thought it was like super amazing. It was so tender and flavorful. There was
Well, it's good instead of 3 of you getting it and it's awful.
yeah, there was a birria. It was a birria, so there was a consomme that you could dip it in. Oh, it was so good, so good. There was a wedge salad that I got off of that. I had a wedge salad every night, Tag, and I thought of you.
I don't know why.
I knew you would be laughing. Like, of course.
The thing is
Teresa had to get the
Teresa
wedge
loves
salad.
ordering wedge salads.
I do. I love wedge salad.
And for some reason, I look at a wedge salad and I just go, I like salads, but a wedge salad just does not do anything for me.
This was delicious. There was
Every
pumpkin
night you
seed-
had a wedge
yeah,
salad?
They were themed differently. They were not
Okay.
the same. It was not the same wedge salad every night. But this had, I don't remember what the dressing was, but it was. So the wedge had cotija cheese, toasted corn, pumpkin seeds, grape tomatoes, and a lime crema parsley dressing. It was so good.
I'm fascinated that they had pumpkin seeds on it.
It was so good. So good. I did not try the soups. One of the girls at the table there was a chilled avocado soup that we all kind of tried, and that was none of our jams. It
Ooh.
kind of felt like a thin avocado, like a
That doesn't
thin,
sound
like
appetizing
a
at all.
guacamole, but like very, very thin. So yeah, it was. We all tried it just to try it, and that was that. And then for my main, I got the ribeye, which had Monterey Jack cheese, double baked potato, a Monterey Jack cheese, double baked potato, buttered broccoli, sweet honey roasted carrots, and the ribeye itself. It was almost more of a prime rib type situation than just
Where it was like a roast that was
fried
cut?
ribeye. Yeah, than like just a single fried ribeye, and it came with a tamarind port wine sauce, which was
Ooh.
very, very, very good. And then for dessert, the churros were recommended to us, so we tried the churros. I was really surprised. The desserts at this location and on the ship in general were generous portions. I'm used to cruise ships having smaller portions, so I ordered the churros as well as their cappuccino creme brulee cheesecake.
Ooh.
So I was thinking I'm thinking the churros is going to be like their churro bites. So I'm thinking, there'll be like 3 churro bites. Oh no, there was like 8. It was a very generous, like easily shareable portion. And they were they were very sweet. Our churros were, they were really good. They were crunchy on the inside, and spongy or whatever you want to call it. Like they were perfect, like doughy deliciousness on the inside.
Cake?
And then it came with like a dipping sauce, which was like a dulce de leche type dipping sauce. The churros themselves almost had like a caramel flavor to them, though. We decided they weren't as good as the Disneyland churro because it wasn't like
Right.
that classic churro like a Disneyland churro, but they were definitely better than Walt Disney World churros. They were just different.
Well, yeah.
And the sauce was very good, but the churro themselves were quite sweet. Everything, yum, yum, yum. I probably, of the two, the churros are probably my favorite.
And then your third was the
third was Marvel, which was the one I was not expecting to be a super exciting menu for me, but it was one of my favorite menus, which is just kind of crazy. That one I did actually take a picture of the menu. Third night was a charm for me to finally remember to do that.
Usually you're like on it.
So for my
At least for the food, I
appetizer,
guess.
I got an heirloom tomato caprese, which was very, very delicious. There was an iceberg wedge salad, which came with feta, cheese, Kalamata olive, cucumber, red and yellow grape tomatoes with a yogurt, mint, lemon dressing. I also got a white cheddar broccolini soup that came with pumpernickel croutons on it. Then for the entree, I was very sad because they had a beef Wellington, which I really wanted. That would have been the thing I would have gotten, but it had mushrooms, so I did not get that. Was not going to do that. But I tried the roasted marinated peri-peri chicken, which came with long beans, honey roasted sweet potatoes, which were super, super good, and then a charred lime, and then the chicken was like cooked in a peri-peri sauce. So it was like a spice sauce on it. The chicken was cooked really well. It was good.
So is the Worlds of Marvel restaurant kind of like the Animator's Palette, like where they have like a show kind of
so
thing?
it's like so for each restaurant, if you've been on one of the classic Disney cruises, Lumiere's was on the Magic. That was the like quote unquote like fancy of the rotational. So that's what 1923 is.
And on the Dream, it was like the Royal Palace or whatever.
Yep. And then Worlds of Marvel, is kind of like takes over Animator's Palette. So the screens come to life and there's like interactive little elements. Like we were playing trivia games and stuff like that. And then Plaza de Coco would be, so for On the Magic, it was a Rapunzel themed restaurant.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was called. That also had like a little stage show.
And we had the Enchanted Garden.
Was there a stage show with that?
No, we didn't have a stage show on any of our stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is why like, for some reason, I think I had seen all the stuff from the Wish and whatever and thought that there was going to be like a show with one of the dinners, and there was never a show with any of the dinners. Oh. So that was kind of interesting for me. But I know that Disney's like going towards that because like that's been really popular.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was great. I'm surprised they went away from it because like I said, the Magic had
Well, I'm guessing that the Magic got a renovation.
Could be.
And they probably added that where it wasn't there from the get-go.
Could be. And then to finalize for dessert, I had got my favorite. We actually got all of the desserts because we're like, it's our last night. Live it up. Why not? My favorite of the ones that we tried was I really enjoyed the double blueberry cheesecake. It was blueberry cheesecake, a lemon short crust with a blueberry glaze.
Ooh.
It was very fun. The one thing that I was a little surprised about with Worlds of Marvel, it was Guardians of the Galaxy themed, which don't get me wrong, super fun and super exciting. Groot and Rocket were the characters that were like on the screens interacting with us. For what I've seen for Worlds of Marvel on the Wish, and then what I have experienced myself with Animator's Palette, is like at the end of the service, or at the end of the like screen show part, characters come out. There was no characters that came out for this one. So I don't know if that was because it was a preview cruise and maybe that just got skipped or what, but that was the one thing that kind of threw us all off because we were expecting somebody to come out from the Guardians of the Galaxy or from the Marvel universe, but we did not have a character walking around saying hi and meet and greeting with people.
So before we end on entertainment, which I assume is going to be a really like nice ending finale, let's talk about the room.
So the room, and
you actually got to see other rooms too.
We got to tour other rooms as well, which was incredible. So our room was a deluxe family stateroom with a veranda. So what that meant was there was a queen bed, there was the bunk beds, and then there was also a little hideaway Murphy bed. So our room slept up to 5 people if we wanted. Disney cruise ships have this really wonderful thing where they split the bathrooms. So we had 2 bathrooms. One had a sink and a toilet. The other one had the shower and a sink, which was wonderful for 4 ladies all getting ready in the morning. There was also a vanity out in the like main area of the main area of the room too. So we had plenty of getting ready space, which the 4 of us every morning and evening, like it worked super, super well. We had tons of storage that all of us had plenty of spaces to be able to put our things away. So nobody was having to like live out of their suitcase during this time either. So
helpful.
Really, really awesome. And again, we had a veranda, which was great. We had this beautiful balcony. We were on the side of the ship that when we pulled into Castaway Key, we could like stand on our balcony and like, ooh, there's Castaway Key.
Ooh, well, that's nice.
Our room was themed to Aladdin. So we had a really beautiful mural of Agrabah with Aladdin and Jasmine flying on the magic carpet. And we had Genie was the little moon on it too. It doesn't glow or anything like that, but they use like there's gold painting or whatever in the headboard to make it appear like it's glowing. And there was other little Aladdin themed details throughout the rest of the room with different artwork as well. So very beautiful room, quite spacious. I was surprised it didn't feel like it was much bigger than the room we had when Vern and I went on the Magic, when it was just the two of us and it was a porthole room. I was expecting the deluxe family ocean view veranda. Like that's one of the larger rooms. So I was expecting it to feel
bigger,
a bit larger. There's not a dresser in this room, which was kind of difficult at first, but we figured out when we found drawers and made it work. But that was a little surprising to me because we had a dresser on previous cruises. So
is this what your room looked like?
That's exactly what our room looked like. But yeah,
it looks like there
nice.
was like a cabinet thing back here or something.
Yeah, that's the bed. That's the Murphy bed.
Oh.
Yep, there was a bed on one side of it, and then there was like a cabinet that had like 5 shelves maybe. So actually that's where I slept on that bed, which was very comfortable, I will add. Very, very comfy. Hannah slept on the top bunk. She was all excited about the top bunk. And then Lindsay and Bethany shared the queen bed. Everybody said their sleeping arrangements were very, very comfy and cozy. So we were all very, very comfortable. Even though there was 4 adults in one room, we did not feel cramped. And really, we didn't spend very much time in just hanging out in the room itself because we were out exploring and doing all sorts of fun stuff.
Which is what you should be doing on the cruise, not hanging out in your room.
Exactly. But again, getting ready getting ready for bed in the evenings and getting ready for the day in the mornings, I didn't feel like we were ever on top of each other and like fighting for space or having to wait for this, that, or the other. It worked out super, super well. The other rooms that we got to tour, which was this was definitely a special thing for this cruise, was we got to tour what's called the Raja Suite, which is it's a concierge level suite. It's a 2-story suite, as you guessed it, themed to Raja, as well as the Aladdin theme overall. Gorgeous spiral staircase in the middle of it, big beautiful bedrooms, walk-in closets. We were joking, we're like, why do you need a walk-in closet on it? How
much stuff are you bringing?
And then somebody, because it was a bunch of travel agents that were also touring this when we were in there, they're like, oh, it's so you have a place to hang all of your tuxedos and ball gowns and whatever. They had this amazing bathroom, like this soaking tub, glass shower, and it was the full one wall was all just glass, but it was privacy glass, so you could click it and be frosted, and then you could click the button again and it would be clear. Ooh. It was so cool. They had a private giant veranda. This is on the back of the ship, by the way, with their own private hot tub back there as well. There was a seating area with like a TV and all that. It was very, very spacious. Plenty of room.
I just like the cool thing you were just talking about, the like changes
with the glass. Yeah, the glass is pretty wild.
Really awesome.
So yeah, it was two bedrooms. Both had their own full baths. Only one had the crazy, like beautiful overlooking the ocean bathroom glass. But yeah, gorgeous.
See, there was a character that came out at least on their little promo
for those
thing.
People, but yeah, not during our during our dinner. We also got to go look at what like an indoor stateroom would look like, what a stateroom with a porthole would look like. The indoor stateroom, I was kind of surprised about. It was not, I always had the assumption that indoor staterooms would feel very, very small and very cramped and something that I would feel a little like, in.
Sure.
It wasn't that bad. The setup of how it was different. It doesn't have a split bathroom. It's just one bathroom. So your toilet, your shower, and your sink were all in the one room. But it was pretty spacious. You still had a queen size bed, and you still had like the couch. So it didn't look and appear as cramped as what I was assuming in my mind.
Do they have the magic porthole on this or no?
There was no
That's
magic
sad.
porthole in the one that we toured.
Because I really like the magic porthole, but I don't know if they do that anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but there wasn't one in the one we toured. And then the porthole room that we were able to see had like a giant porthole that you could sit in. Like it was a very large porthole, which was pretty darn cool. And I saved the best for last. We got to see the creme de la creme. The thing I was looking forward to the most when it came to a room tour is as if I could only tour one other room in the entire ship. This was where I wanted to go tour. It is the Tomorrow Tower. It is
2,000 square
cool.
feet of living space, according to Disney's website for the Tower
and it's
Suite.
It's a concierge level thing. Beautiful. It is themed to Epcot. So it has all sorts of, when you're going up, you have like a private staircase just to get into it. So this is in one of the like funnels.
Ooh.
And the wallpaper in there looks like the sphere, the Epcot sphere, the ball. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Multiple figments throughout. It has this really beautiful iridescent glass throughout as well. The glass, how it was hit, like with the sunshine hitting it, was just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. To the point that we were joking, we're like, if you were in this, why would you want to leave this room? It is
Ooh, that's
so
gorgeous.
amazing.
This chandelier is amazing.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Oh, they do have like blinds you could pull.
Yep.
Because one of the things that I was always curious about is like, you're kind of a fishbowl in these.
Just so this was kind of the interesting thing. Just in that one spot, there was not windows in the other rooms. The rooms would look out into that main area that had the giant wall of windows, but there weren't windows in each of the rooms. Yeah, that's one of the bedrooms.
That's amazing.
There was two bedrooms with like, I don't know if they were queen or king size beds, and then there was a kids room that had like bunk beds in it.
Okay, I'm gonna pick one thing I don't like. I'm looking at this picture. We'll have to link this in the show notes. I am looking at this picture of this bathroom. This like Kitty Wampus bathtub would drive me crazy. It feels like it should be like.
It didn't feel like it was Kitty Wampus when we were in the space.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
All the bunk beds.
Just you wait. The kids' room had its own bathroom and shower too. Did they take a picture of the best part of the kids' room? They did not take a picture of the best part of the kids' room.
What's the best part of the kids' room?
The best part of the kids' room, I was a crazy person that was lying on the floor so I could get the best picture of the best part of the kids' room, is the ceiling.
Okay, what's on the ceiling?
Figment. Figment is on the ceiling. Figment is lit up like they have like magic stardust.
Gosh, I just can't get over these like rooms. Like some of the just
the room, like these suites were just incredible. I have no idea what
that
these
is
cost.
Cool. Way too much. That's what they cost.
Yes, a lot. It had its own private little elevator too. It was amazing. That was cool. There was like a little, at the base of the staircase, they have like a little sculpture that was of Spaceship Earth. But the cool thing was that if you hung out over there long enough, it also kind of did like its own little mini light show.
Oh, of course it did. Like, why wouldn't it?
These spaces were wildly cool. Never in a million years will I ever be able to like afford to stay in one of these spaces, but I feel very, very fortunate that we were able to go and tour them and just kind of soak up their beauty, because there was so many layers of details in both of these like special suites that we got to go see.
So everythingmouse.com has compiled prices, and I know that the price for a maiden voyage is going to be more pricey, but just to give you an idea, to stay and do the maiden voyage, the Tomorrow Tower Suite is $86,249.
Yep, that's never happening.
In February, for the February 22nd cruise, the Tomorrow Tower Suite is $45,244.
But so that Tomorrow Tower Suite is 1,966 square feet. The Royal Suite, which there was two of them, we saw the one that was Raja, is 1,759 square feet. And like I said,
and
that
there's only
one,
like a $6,000 difference.
And that one, the one that's actually a little bit, the Royal Suite has its own private hot tub out on its veranda. Amazing. They're just super beautiful, amazing spaces.
So you could buy a car? or you can go on a 7-night Disney cruise at the Tomorrow's Tower Suite.
The choice is yours.
Yeah.
But yeah, just incredible spaces.
Okay. Tell us about the entertainment, because I know
Holy
you're
cats.
excited to talk about this.
Top notch. So we all know that Disney entertainment is like always so fun, so good. The performers that they find crazy talented. Somehow this was next level. There was, so first highlight that we kind of stumbled upon, that if you are thinking about going on a cruise on the Disney Treasure, or if you have already booked a cruise for the Disney Treasure, please remember this duo's name. The duo's name is Sage and Coriander. They're kind of like the, comedians and kind of like your entertainment hosts. They kind of were a little bit of everywhere, and you don't want to miss them. They were so good. So the first time that we saw them was during the Sail Away party. They kind of kicked it off and introduced it, but we went the first night. They had a show, and it was an adults comedy show themed to Indiana Jones. It was called Choose Wisely. These two were hilarious. They were crazy entertaining with in really minimal props and special effects and all that. The two individuals were just so captivating, so entertaining, and just so much fun. So after that, we tried to catch every show that they were doing, because they were just
from the video
incredible.
That you showed me, the closest thing that I could say is, if you've ever seen the small performances that are in the Princess Fantasy Fair at Disneyland, if you take just the two narrators and no other performers, they kind of felt like that to me. Like, they're funny, very good.
The thing that it really reminded me of, that I kept asking people, I kept asking, have you ever been to a Renaissance festival?
That too.
Because it felt like something you would see at a Renaissance festival, but the two performers were amazing. The timing, the acting, like, you believed everything they were doing. So the Indiana Jones adventure thing, there's points where Indy's running from the boulder and all he's doing is running in place on the stage, and she's spinning what appeared to be a globe on a projector screen that then popped up behind him, and you believed it. You believed every single thing that they were doing. They were going through the mine cars, and they're just in a trunk that's not moving, right? Because it's just a trunk, it's just a prop, but they're bouncing around and you think that they're actually bumping down the mine cart path. I'm just so good. There was an Aladdin show that we caught, and basically they were just retelling the story of Aladdin. Well, it's just the two of them, so they had to play all the parts. So they had all of these different hats that they were literally changing out of, and
so
little costume quick
the
changes.
Fantasy Fair people.
My gosh, it was. But their timing and their delivery was what just made it. They were so good. So please remember, Sage and Coriander. Go check them out. You will not regret it. They were hilarious. Some of their stuff is the adult comedy, so there was things that were a little bit more mature humor, but then other things were totally family friendly. There was a Jungle Cruise theme thing that they did that was an interactive game that people were able to kind of get up and get involved with, but amazing. There was also a singer that we spotted a couple different places, and crazy, insanely talented woman. The first place that we saw her was, well, gosh, let me look at what the thing's called, because it was a unique name. This show is also on the Wish, but it's basically a singer that then there's a tap dancer dancing alongside of the singer, and it's so cool. It is called Victrophonics is what it's called. And so she was kind of doing lounge Disney songs, and then the tap dancer was tapping along and dancing along. It was crazy cool. Both women were very, very talented. And so that one was really, really fun to watch. That singer, though, also later she was the opener for Club Sarabi, which was then where she was the opening act before the Indiana Jones thing. And then she also played a couple roles in the Moana stage performance, which was that deserves its own little section, because that Moana stage performance was unlike anything that I've seen in a Disney park, or anything that's included in the cost of admission. It Like, I felt like I should have paid extra money to be able to see it. It was that good. Continuing on, though, before we get sidetracked on that. Other fun things that we were stopped and did, we kept stopping to see, kind of poke our heads in whenever we saw a piano performer at the Scat Cat Lounge. Because again, that was the cool thing about these spaces. They were right there. You didn't have to always like favorite in your app the different things you wanted to do, because you kind of were able to come across these things organically because they were in more open spaces and not really tucked in corners. So we would stop. So the first night we stopped and hung out a little bit at the Scat Cat Lounge while there was piano music playing. And then there was a band that would show up at the Skipper Society every once in a while that played all sorts of fun and more modern tunes. So we had to stop and see them as well. This sailing had a Pirates Night. It was a little bit different because I've never done a Pirates Night on one of the new ships. And they have, it's like the Pirates, like there's like a rock theme to the Pirates thing, and you like rock out with Captain Red. So the pirate theme that I had seen on the Magic was just like with all the Disney characters, and like they were being pirates, and then Captain Hook and Mr. Smee kind of come and try and take over, and then, you know, Mickey saves the day, that kind of thing. They had 2 shows.
Oh, ours Captain Jack Sparrow showed up.
Okay, yeah, okay. So this one they had 2 shows. There was like the Mickey Pirate show.
Okay.
And then you had the swashbuckling show with like live singers, and that was the one that then went with the fireworks show.
Nice.
Captain Jack did show up for that one.
That's good.
But yeah, Pirate Red was kind of like the main star. But like the cast for these shows, even like not even the main, so the main people crazy talented, but the backup dancers, I'm watching these people and I'm just like, there's a guy jumping on trampoline. I'm like, we're in the middle of the ocean. It is windy as all get out, and you're jumping on this trampoline doing all sorts of like, wow, like flips and all this crazy stuff. They were intense. They gave it like 130% effort. Genuinely, some of the people we had just watched at the Moana show, which was, again, I already said, next level. This was a unique thing because they had to do multiple performances, but they still, if you didn't know that they just gave it their all for the Moana show, and then a little bit later we're out here somehow still giving it their all and more for the pirate show, it was wild to watch. The athleticism, the talent, amazing.
If you are impressed by the trampoline people in the wind, when we went, it's not a Disney cruise. When we went on the Royal Caribbean cruise, they have the Aqua show, and they're diving from like stories above, like while the boat's moving, and like they're jumping, where like they could die if they missed the thing, and they were doing a great job. So that's also very impressive. Yeah. Okay, so
stage
was
shows.
was there only just there was more than the Moana?
There was more than the Moana show. So there was I don't remember what it was called. Something about the sea, but it was kind of like the original Disney show. It felt very like Mickey and the Magical Map, where it was followed a character that then things kind of went a little haywire, but then that made you get to see other Disney characters from other things. It was adorable. It was so cute. I need to give a shout out to Hannah, because Hannah is not one that normally like does Disney entertainment. And so she, so she was there. She was like open to it. And we went, and afterwards she was like, that was so good. It like got her, and she's like, I felt all the feels. It was so good. I'm like, see, like Disney entertainment's really like, it can be really amazing. She's a rides person.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to kind of to get to experience that with her. But it was adorable. So it was Captain Minnie was planning a party or something, and Goofy said something about how he always wanted to be a captain. And she's like, well, how about you take the wheel, Goofy? Well, of course, it's Goofy.
Sure.
Captaining the ship. What could go wrong? Well, it was fun because we got to run into we ran into Crush. Crush like sang a song. So we had these really cool turtle puppets. And the song was real, like, again, the singers were very, very good. The song was really well done. We ran into Tiana at Tiana's Palace. That was cool because all of a sudden there's nothing on the stage, and then poof, there's all these tables that literally popped up from like the bottom of the stage. So that was really fun to watch the transformation. Moana sang a song. Merida from Brave was there. Hercules was one of the ones. So yeah, so we got to see some favorites, and I liked that they used not the same Disney, because sometimes like you see the same princesses over and over
Right.
again. So it felt like they mixed this up a little bit, and we got to see new and different people, which was really fun. So it was a very, very cute, very well done show. But
So this was like the original type of show for the ship.
Yeah.
Because like on the Magic, you had
I don't remember what it's called.
some type of show that was
Yeah.
like whatever. Because we had one where like it was an inventor dad and like the kid was an inventor and like I don't know. There was
Yeah.
some story that was like it wasn't like a retelling of
wasn't a
another story.
retelling,
It's like
yeah.
a brand new
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And it seems like each ship has a original story that then weaves in other Disney
Yeah.
songs and characters and stories. And then there's a retelling, at least one retelling, maybe two. This,
'cause, like, we
this
had Beauty and the
sailing had
Beast and-
2 retellings.
Okay.
Beauty and the Beast was the other retelling
Oh.
outside of Moana. I'm going to be honest, we skipped it because 3 nights, we felt like we had a lot of other things that we wanted to try and do and accomplish. So we decided that that was going to be the thing that had to give. So we did skip the Beauty and the Beast show. I'm sure it was amazing. I feel bad that we skipped it, but
But you got to
we
see
had
Moana.
yes, we saw Moana. So this is the first ever live like musical adaptation for Moana. And I know that Disney had been talking this up. So I was trying really hard not to get my hopes up because they kept like talking it up. It was incredible. Like there were things that they were doing that were just like mind blowing. The things that were crazy to me was, first of all, like the company, like the cast, the like kind of like the behind the scenes characters were so involved. They had so many different costumes changes. It was people that represented like the ocean. So instead of having, you know, like when the wave gives Moana the Heart of Te Fiti and all that, it was people doing all that stuff,
sure.
which was crazy cool. Moana herself actually like grew up on stage. So we saw like baby Moana, preteen Moana, and then like teen Moana to finish it out. The other thing that was wild that we couldn't like quite figure out, and we really wanted to see if we could like find one of the actors to ask them, was the tattoos. So like the dad has a tattoo, the chief, you know, and Grandma Tala has a tattoo across her back. And then of course Maui has tattoos. I think they were actually on the performers. I think they were actually like not like real tattoos, but I think they actually not, instead of just like having, I don't know, like a shirt or something that had it on there, I think that they actually took the time to do the makeup.
Sure.
To put the tattoos on the people, which is like crazy level of detail. Grandma Tala was kind of the narrator for the story of Moana, and she was also like the comic relief. She was amazing. She was so fun. There's a couple of original songs in here that are not part of the movie, so that was a really fun and nice surprise. But the timing on some of the stuff that they were doing, so Moana's like hopping all over her ship. She's hopping on these rocks that are literally coming up out of the like holes in the bottom of the stage kind of thing. And again, we're on this rockin' moving boat, so I'm like worried about her. I don't know. I feel like words can't describe what this show was. Every single song felt like the grand finale. Like there was so much energy and so much like the sound, the voices, the dancing, the like everything you saw was just incredible. One change to the story. I won't tell you what characters weren't present because I don't want to break anybody's heart here. But
there's no hey, was there?
No hey. There's no
well,
hey. There's no Pua.
I'm boycotting
And there's no,
this.
what are those little kakamoras? They weren't in there either. But what we did get was the most, I don't even know. Somehow Tamatoa was like wild. So remember the singer I was telling you about earlier? That crazy amount of talent that person has. They, I believe, were also Tamatoa and just
Tamatoa is the like
us away.
Is the crab, right? With the
Tamatoa
jewels.
is the crab.
Yeah.
And sings the shiny song.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So Tamatoa was female in this version and she rocked it. Oh my gosh, was she amazing. So good. The thing that was also just wild was each character, you could almost close your eyes. Same thing with the Goofy original show. Some of these characters you could
Which, by the way, is
close your
called
eyes.
Disney
sees the adventure.
adventure.
Oh, Elsa was also in it. That was the other character that I was. Some of these characters, you could close your eyes and you would think that you were listening to the movie. That's how good these performers were. It was, I don't know, incredible. And then I don't want to give things away, but there were some scenes and some specifics that when we watched it on stage and like it was just mind blowing, and you were just like jaw dropped, and then so you thought like this couldn't possibly get any cooler, and then somehow it did, and you're just like, ah. Anyways. Amazing. Again, I don't want to give spoilers. I'm sure Tag's going to ask me spoilers once we're done with this, which is totally fine, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone else.
Yeah.
If you're on the ship, I'm wishing
this is the premiere show for the...
Yes. I'm wishing I would have skipped dinner and gone to this show twice. That is how good this was. It was so good. However, I would have had to skip dinner at Coco, which would not have been a good dinner to
That's
have
why
skipped.
it's good that they're doing 7-day sailings, because...
Yeah, then you could.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. One thing that also was slightly different that I kind of maybe want to warn people about going into it, because it was a little like, it took us a little like getting used to, is how they portrayed Maui. So I feel like The Rock is a very strong, very specific character for Maui. I think The Rock kind of is Maui.
Yeah.
So that's a really hard thing to then portray then on the stage. So Maui was almost like more of like a surfer dude personality, which worked. No, it worked. It worked. He wasn't quite the like, he still had like the strongness, but you just couldn't get, I don't think you can physically find someone that's going to look like Maui. So, but Maui was amazing. His singing was so fun that they were able to make his tattoos come alive for You're Welcome in a very unique and fun way. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Well, I think that's a great spot to end. Overall, is this ship,
Yes.
would you say the ship is amazingly better than the Magic?
So beautiful. It's I wouldn't say it's amazingly better. It's just different.
Sure.
The Wish and the Wish, I assume, and for sure the Treasure, feel more Disney-ified, if that makes sense. So it's more, you don't quite have like the nautical feel that the other ships have. Like the other ships have like a classic nautical feel with Disney kind of woven into it. This had a much more grand, they very much leaned into the Disney of it, if that makes sense. So every single lounge, every single space had some sort of Disney theme to it. So like there was Periscope Pub, which was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea themed. That in the other ships was like O'Doul's or like the sports pub, the sports club. So it was every space was very, very immersive, which I really, really enjoyed. The one thing I will warn you that really threw all of us off was Periscope Pub, since like I said, it is the sports bar. We walked in like at night one time to go check it out, and there was sports playing on the TVs, and we're like, oh no. And like we shut the door and left because it like completely pulled you out of the immersion that was happening on every other inch of that ship.
Sure.
So it felt really, really off. So I really enjoy them for different reasons, because I really do like the classic, like grand ocean feeling of like what the Magic had.
Like the golden age of cruising.
Yeah, and what I'm going to assume the fantasy has as well. This is just different. It's just different. So I guess it kind of depends on what it is that you're looking for. But I think they're very, very amazing for different reasons.
See, what's interesting to me is I love the golden age of cruising feel. That's one of the things I just loved. I mean, the first thing, we walked down that one hallway and I was like, this is my ship. And I think looking at things like the Treasure and what I've seen, your photos, things online, is I think for me, like a ship like the Treasure or the Wish is like, if I want to go to a Disney park, but on a ship, these two ships are that. Where I feel like the other one is like, I want the Disney level of service with some Disney touches, but on a cruise ship. Where, there's like a distinction there between that. So I think it'll be interesting because I've only been on the one Disney cruise, so I don't know what that's all like. So we'll have to see how it goes. But it sounds like you had a great time.
Yes.
We want to thank, of course, and I want to thank, even though I didn't go, I want to thank ConciEARs for inviting Teresa along on this. They definitely picked the correct person to do this, because between the two of us, Teresa was definitely probably the one who's more enthusiastic about all of this. Just in general, it's just our personalities. So definitely pick the right person. Also, like, it's kind of like a girls' trip or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you had such a great time.
The four of us had so much fun together. We got, we were all on the same page, got along great. So it was like the ultimate trip. We were in the ultimate location with the, best little group of people. It was perfect. It was so fun.
So, if you want to book one of these, head on over to ConciEARs.com and go book something with them. And you can talk to three of them were planners. So 3 planners were actually just on this cruise. So I went with Bethany, Lindsay, and Hannah. But any of the folks over at ConciEARs will be able to help you out, because I know that those 3 are going back and reporting back to the rest of the planners to say how, what this experience was like. We took a ridiculous amount of photos. I myself took 800, and I know that I may have been one of the on a 3-day cruise.
Well, that included the first day that we were there and did some Walt Disney World things too. That was me, and I know that others had almost 2,000 photos.
Wow.
So there's plenty of photos, plenty of videos. I am behind because I did not opt to do the internet package while I was on the ship. I was quote unquote unplugged while we were there because I did not have access to my phone outside of the Disney Cruise Line stuff. So I just started posting stuff today with last night, and then today, Tuesday the 17th, is when I did my day 1 recap. So I think this whole week on our social media will probably be devoted to Disney Treasure catch-up stuff, so I can share some of those images and videos with you. I'll save it in. That's a good idea. I'll save it into one of those little saved stories things. As you can tell, social media is not our strong suit. We don't even know what that's called, but yeah, photos, videos, all that fun stuff will be out on our social media. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to write in either to us here at feedback@dlweekly.net, or please reach out to ConciEARs and let them know you heard about all of the amazing things that we got to experience on the Treasure from DL Weekly, and you have questions and you need answers. Anybody over there will be more than happy to help with your questions. Or if you have any questions about cruise planning in general, again, reach out to our friends over at ConciEARs.
And as a reminder, in a month or so, a little over a month, we're going to just basically turn into Disney Cruise Line Weekly, because Teresa will then talk about her experience on the Fantasy, which it'll be interesting to compare and contrast the Dream that I've been on and the Fantasy, which are they're the same ship, but different. Ships. So I'm interested to see how different the two are, because I believe the Fantasy has not gone through the dry dock yet that the Dream went through after we got off of it. So we'll have seen the same thing, but they're converting some stuff. So, but anyway, yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's not all Disneyland stuff, but I think everybody's kind of Disney fans, so they like hearing about this, especially with such a cool experience of being able to go on a ship that literally no paying person has been able to go on yet. So that's kind of cool.
And the other thing too is we just kind of kept exploring. So we got to go in and see spaces that I never thought we'd be able to see, like the different suites and stuff. But we also got to go just walk through the Rose, Enchanté, and Hollow, because they just have those spaces open before their
Are those the
services.
extra?
Those are the adult dining extra paid, but again, gorgeous, very romantic, high end. Date night.
What's Enchanté?
Enchanté is so it's like Palo, but elevated. It's even more than Palo. Yeah. I have pictures. Don't worry. We'll go through them.
Wow.
They're gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. It's they're still Disney themed, but it's elevated and classy.
Sure.
Amazing.
Do you want to support the show as a one-time payment instead of through Patreon, which is a recurring amount? Well, you can buy us a churro. Head on over to dlweekly.net/churro to support us with a churro. Thank you to all of our listeners who have supported the show in any way possible.
Woo! Welcome back to Trivia Land, Chef. My name Raymond, and I hope them answers are bigger and better than this here back porch I got attached to me. Don't you know Evangeline and I wish y'all the best of luck.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, where we're enjoying a nice little trip down memory lane as we reminisce at this holiday time and we think back on trivia questions of the past and and our memories of holidays at Disneyland.
Or lack of.
Tag, Teresa, how do you feel about your memories?
Well, I mean, I have fond memories of holiday times at Disneyland. I don't know if I have a good memory when it comes to holiday trivia from Disneyland, but we'll find out.
All right, let's find out. Your first listener submitted question from a couple years ago. Listener Louise B. asked, in the Haunted Mansion holiday overlay, what replaces Madame Leota's musical instruments and how many objects are there? Well, both of you were correct when you said that it was tarot cards depicting the Nightmare Before Christmas characters. But Tag said there were 12 of them. Teresa said there were 10. The correct number that I was looking for, I tried to give you a hint when I asked if that was your lucky number. There are 13.
That makes sense.
You know, I was thinking 13 might have been the answer, but that's okay. Can't have them all. Or in our case, many at all. Like any at all.
Well, you could have most of them. You could have 10 or 12 of them. You just didn't have all 13 of them.
Sure.
Your second question, which was asked by listener Kate A. What are the names of the holiday overlays for Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters? And I was looking for both Halloween and for the winter holidays.
Got this one.
Both of you said the Honkin' Halloween and the Joy to the Whirl. The correct answer that I was looking for was the Honkin' Halloween and the Joy to the Whirl.
Boom.
It's all downhill from here, folks.
We knew one.
We
knew one. Well, I mean, the bonus we might know too.
You get your 1.5. You got that.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was the
that's right.
tarot
We had the
cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And your third listener submitted question, which was asked by listener Stacia S. How tall is the Main Street Christmas tree? How many lights are on the Main Street Christmas tree? And how many ornaments are on the Main Street Christmas tree? And I did say that if you were ballparky close, I was going to give you kudos. You answered. Tag said 75 feet tall. Teresa said 70 feet tall. Tag said 10,000 lights. Teresa said 15,000 lights. Tag said 500 ornaments, and Teresa said 350 ornaments. The correct answer that I was looking for. You were close with your feet high. It is 60 feet high. With the answer that was provided to us in the year that this answer was submitted, I cannot necessarily speak for the 2024 tree. The number of lights, 70,000. And the
So we were way low on that one.
Yeah.
Way low.
And the number of ornaments, 2,000. Which
See, I
is
thought
when I
Vern
then
was
gave you
looking
the
at
look.
us like, you are insane for having that amount on there, but nope, that was...
No, I gave you the
Whoa.
look because you hadn't touched the surface.
That's the difficult thing with these numbers questions. I feel like they're either like crazy high numbers or way lower than you would think. Numbers. Dang. Yep. Fail.
You know what
there.
it is? They do force perspective on the tree, too. So there's giant ornaments at the bottom and probably
That's
a bunch of
true.
tiny little ornaments at the top.
That's true.
Very true. And your fourth and final regular round question from producer James. What is the name of the proprietor of Plaza Point, the Disney holiday shop? A place to get your fix for Christmas and the other holidays all year round.
Mark these as wrong. Just a whim.
Tag said Mrs. Claus. And Teresa said Harrison M. Holiday. The correct answer that I was looking for was Miss Evelyn Toro.
I mean, we had the miss, I guess. Evelyn Toro.
Yep. And your bonus question tonight from producer James. What is the longest running holiday parade at Disneyland? You two agreed on A Christmas Fantasy. The correct answer that I was looking for, the longest running holiday parade at Disneyland, and I haven't looked into this, but to the best of my knowledge, it might be the longest running parade, A Christmas Fantasy.
Woohoo!
Which is why we should get another
It
parade.
is not the longest running parade. The Main Street.
Oh,
Electrical
like I said, I hadn't looked into it, so please teach us.
I think the Main Street. Well, Depends on how you want to classify it.
Consecutively?
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's consecutive.
Sure.
Then it's tight. But yeah, the Main Street Electrical Parade, didn't they celebrate what, 50?
Oh, wow.
It was in the 70s.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, they celebrated their 50th anniversary, but it's glowed away a couple of times and moved a couple of times. So I don't know how that, consecutively what it is. But yeah, 1972.
52 years old, yep.
1972 is when it started. But like I said, it's taken a couple of breaks, so I don't know if that kicks it out of the running or not.
Well, I'll have to do more research on that and come back after the break with more info.
Well, that is totally wrong. Just for those of you who work with ChatGPT, I was just curious, and I typed, what is the longest running parade at Disneyland? And it said the longest running parade at Disneyland is the Soundsational Parade, which ran from 2011 to 2017.
No.
However, when it comes to parades with the longest overall run, the Electrical Parade is often considered the longest due to its multiple runs throughout the years, starting in 72. Yeah, so I don't know. That's
I don't
weird.
think, 6 years is definitely
Don't always
not.
trust AI, kids.
I know.
Well, then. All right. Well, listeners, how did you like the trip down memory lane? Do you enjoy trips down memory lane with your family and friends? If you've got some great questions that you would like us to be able to bring up in the future, feel free to send those in to dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back in 2 weeks with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, happy holidays and go out and enjoy the parks.
And a special thank you to Sidel for editing the podcast.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.
Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.